Hello, hello, and welcome out to another pattern of the week. Let's jump right into it. We'll see if the cat shows up. She's been kind of needy the last hour or so. She's at least not curled up on my chair. She's been hogging my office chair quite often lately. So anyway, I'm going to have to get a new one pretty soon because she climbs up on the back and she's tearing it up with her sharp claws. But we'll see if she makes an appearance today. So the disclaimer, I'm not a registered broker-dealer investment advisor. I will not give you any recommendation or advice. Everything we do here is purely for educational purposes. If I do mention a trade, just assume it is a paper trade or a practice trade. For regulatory reasons, we do not discuss funded trading here. So I got two this week. Kind of like last week, right? We had inverted head and shoulder, or we had a descending triangle, ascending triangle, if I recall last week probably. But this week we had a descending triangle on J&J and an inverted head and shoulders on CTSH. Whether or not they play out, hard to say. Actually, J&J's already started, which good. In fact, I'll start with that since we got there. But you can see actually the plan that I have in place here is, let me get the bigger picture real quick. We'll start out here. J&J's obviously been around for a long time. Significantly higher, you can see. I mean, and obviously, some steady growth is to be expected. I'm curious to know what it looks like on a semi-log scale. Let's get rid of that, and that's the entire history. Yep. So looks like late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s. It went public, and interesting. I mean, the mid 90s it really grew a lot, but it kind of slowed down its pace here in the 2000s. And this thing's been a pretty steady climber, which makes sense. I mean, it's drugs and it gets into everything else, and I mean, there we go. It's a very different picture, isn't it? Going from one to the other. So, and for long terms, a lot of times it's good to look at that, the semi-log, to see what it looks like. But on a shorter term basis, and even though, a decade's not, all of a sudden I get hiccups. Decade's not necessarily short term, but it is compared to, the 40 or 50 years this thing's been on the market. So, looking for a pullback. We've got a descending triangle. And we could draw a line here too. It's not a whole lot different, but the beauty is that it's broken below that 170 level is a pretty solid. You can see how it was resistance here, and then it broke out, didn't even come back to it, rallied up. I don't know if it dug in there. It got close. I mean, it came down to the same area, 170, 171 area. Came down here before it bounced. It cracked it right there, which gave it some weakness, right? Basically said, hey, we can get through this level. We as the bears can get through this level if we want. But the bulls came back and pushed it back higher. And then, of course, we're weekly. It dug in here again. And then just today, it cracked it. It's been trying to hold it for the last week, right? And today, in fact, let's get here so we can see volume. Yeah, not that impressive. I don't know. You know what? I'm not sure if this is fully finished updating. I know I did it right at or right after the close. I'm not going to do the criteria, but this should give us an update on volume. It should be pretty quick. But you can see as far as the entry point goes, it's already hit it based on the plan that I put in place. But I would actually prefer to see a pullback on this. So what I'm hoping to see this next week is for this thing to bounce a little bit, come back up to this 170, and then use the old resistance as new support. If it just tanks from here, maybe I missed it. And if I did, so be it. I didn't catch it today. I didn't get into this thing. I remember looking at it last week and seeing the descending triangle, and I think I already had the plan in place. And that's what's hard. I can't remember exactly which ones I have and which ones I don't have the plans in place. But regardless, I'm hoping this thing will bounce back up here. But if it doesn't, it takes off without me. That's okay. Not that big of a deal. So indicators, look and see if there's anything here that gives us any clues. Stokes is showing actually kind of oversold. MACD is actually looking bearish. This thing rolled right into the bands, which it did here, 2 days in a row, and then it retaliated or retaliated. So, and looking back historically, it can do this sometimes. When it closed into the band here and it ran for another day. Here we got to close into the band 2 more days, 2 big days. So this might not be a bad plan to try to catch this tomorrow if it takes off. If I did and went outside of the range of the entry point here, I would definitely take a smaller position to minimize the risk. There's our update. We did finish updating, and notice the volume jumped up too. So we have an increased volume on the break of a major support level and a descending triangle breakout. So that's a good sign. It's a bearish sign, I should say. Maybe not good. It's not good or bad. It depends. If you're long, it's not good. If you want to get short or you are short, then it is a good thing. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Dividends coming out. What's that, the 22nd? I usually don't worry too much about dividends. They don't usually have a major impact on stocks. Some people get all into little nuanced things, and I typically don't. I've never had one have a dramatic effect on an option trade that I've done. So let's put it that way. Usually I don't hold over dividends. I'm not even in trades a lot of times with dividends. I probably only had maybe 2 or 3 or 5 out of 22 years that have gone ex-dividend when I'm in a trade. I mean, that's how rare they are. So it's not something I even think about. Don't even concern myself with it. So, but jump to CTSH. This is a pretty nice looking little inverted head and shoulders. We go to weekly, and there's the thing too. And this thing's obviously been around for a long time, since the late 90s, looks like. Obviously run up big time, has some potential for more downside. And I think, frankly, I'm not even sure. I mean, the pattern itself is really pretty. Hasn't come up and challenged this neckline yet. And frankly, I'm not that confident that it will. You can see earnings does not appear to have been good. People ran it up into excitement of it, came up to this $7 level, and the next morning it opened at 65. So gap down $5. Rallied back up. The market's kind of rallied. The market's been fairly strong. So it seems like this has been just kind of rallying with the market. Market did trail off pretty heavy today in the last few hours. So we shall see what tomorrow brings. But I'm not excited about this. A lot of it will depend on what the overall market does. If the market stays bullish, I'm expecting it to at least trail off a little bit or go sideways. I don't know. I mean, the Russell broke out. So we'll see what happens with the bigger picture. But I'll just basically have have some alerts set on it. And if it pops and I catch it, great. If not, no big deal. So let's look at the indicator, see if there's anything there. Stokes is a little bit oversold or overbought. MACD's, not telling us much. Bollinger Bands, nice little pinch going there. So if it continues to pinch and go sideways, if it does break north, it's above the 50-day, which doesn't necessarily mean a lot, but at least it gives somewhat of a bullish case. There she is. She decided to come over to watch. And she now likes to chase the mouse on the screen. So she's going to sit down right here. I don't know if you can see her or not, but she's just going to sit here on my right hand. She loves to do it. She curls up right next to the keyboard, right between the keyboard and the mouse, which there's not a lot of space. But she just comes in and acts like she owns the joint. Here she is taking a bath right here. She's literally just laid down on my right hand, which is on the mouse. So anyway, just no pushing keyboard or the keypad. But yeah, she likes to chase the mouse on the screen. So it's kind of crazy. Anyway, so we're gonna have to call her a whispering cat. The pattern whispering cat. So anyway, let's get back over to. She gets in my way sometimes. I can't see where I'm at. Just remember, if you're going to fail at one thing, fail at quitting. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.
Folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the training. Now, if you did, be sure to give us a thumbs up and go ahead and hit the subscribe button right over here and hit the bell to keep up with all the latest trading content. And oh, did you know that we have a podcast? Supercharge your trading education with the Stock Market Millionaire, which you can find in the description down below. And while you're there, you can also find other amazing free trading resources that I've put together just for you.